Good evening. My name is Jose Montano. I have Madeline Campbell here. And along with this group was Michaela Tawater and Jordan Kirkpatrick. This topic that we chose to talk about is social and personal relationships. Treat the other humans as equal in their personhood. It's a foundation to just creating just personal relationships. How strong are your personal relationships? How strong are your social relationships? Or do you even have either? If you're in a personal relationship, you are able to be yourself. What about in a social relationship? Are you able to be yourself around your peers? My group and I chose to speak on this topic because it's a topic that is not talked about enough and needs to be spoken about, especially nowadays where mental health is a big issue than before. Everyone is either in a personal or social relationship with one another or with one individual, or maybe not. When the pandemic hit in 2020, it tested a lot of personal and social relationships. Some personal relationships broke down, some others got stronger, some social relationships got stronger, others got weaker. COVID put it all to the test. At first, this topic was not such a big deal because there wasn't nothing out there to put the different type of relationships to the true test. Social media was an outlet for a lot of people to communicate with one another. But like everything else in this world, everything has its ups and its downs. Social media, along with the media, always portrayed the negative side of COVID, which put a strain on a lot of relationships. Like I mentioned before, we chose to speak on this topic because it is not talked about enough, and it's a bigger issue now due to mental health becoming the norm. As a veteran, there was a point in my life where I fell in a deep hole. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I didn't want to associate myself with anyone. And I got to a point where I did contemplate suicide, but luckily, I did have a support system behind me, personal relationships, social relationships, and my immediate family that helped me out that rut that I was in. Having personal and social relationship is a part of what makes us human. And it is important as humans that we interact with one another for us to keep our sanity and our mental health in check. I am proud of this group because we all had one mindset and all came to an agreement on that this topic was an important topic to talk about. What is the difference between personal and social relationships? Why is it important to have a personal and social relationship? In this speech, Madeline will be explaining the difference between social and personal relationships and the importance of being in a personal and social relationship. The most important ingredient we put into any relationship is not what we say or what we do, but what we are.
Hello. So now we're going to talk about what exactly social relationships are and what personal relationships are. Social relationships are the social interactions between two or more people that involve specific etiquette while interacting. Deere explains, commonly, social relationships are understood as the set of interactions that occur between two or more people, or two or more groups of people, according to a series of mutually accepted protocols or guidelines, that is, according to specific norms. So depending on the group one is involved with, their social norms and etiquettes will differ in accordance to what the groups consider as acceptable. Then on the other hand, personal relationships deal with the close and personal bonds between individuals that do not have to be filtered by a certain etiquette, such as in certain social circles or jobs. University of Minnesota describes the concept. In our model, personal relationships refer to close connections between people, formed by emotional bonds and interactions. These bonds often grow from and are strengthened by mutual experiences. Family bonds and close friends are examples of common personal relationships. So now that social and personal relationships have been defined, The importance of personal relationships, specifically, will be explained. Personal relationships are a comfort. Having personal relationships with individuals serve as more comforting than social relationships. Rollins states, "We feel comfortable in the presence of our close friends. We earn and jointly create the freedom of our friendships. Time together, straightforward talk, shared stories, and mutual respect produce the co-knowledge cradling friendship," published in 2017. People prefer personal relationships over social relationships because it allows individuals to be themselves and to not feel restrained by social relationship limits on how to speak and what you can do. Additionally, personal relationships allow for people to feel deeper in their connections with others, rather than to interact on the surface of people as is done in social relationships. Rollin explains, "Yet friends also co-create deep understandings, allowing for shared moral visions and rights unique to their friendship," published in 2017. When connecting with people on a personal level, it allows for growth in the relationship. Though personal relationships are comforting, it is still important to have strong social relationship communication skills in order to be successful in communicating with various peoples and in the business world. Social relationship skills are important for interactions on a day-to-day basis and overall success. It is important to be able to interact politely in accordance with the group and culture while interacting with individuals throughout daily routines. Dean explains, "On the other hand, social relations are usually based on protocols and norms. These norms are determined historically and culturally, but also based on the needs of the collective," published in 2020. It is important that people follow the cultural and social norms of manners when interacting with others in certain social dynamics, such as work, college, interacting in informal public places like the store, etc., in order to be polite to others. By following certain cultural social norms, one's success in the business world is likely to be significantly higher due to the ability to communicate professionally and acceptably in professional environments, where strong communication skills must be apparent. Dean describes this idea. In fact, courtesy and forms of everyday treatment are evident that even brief and superficial contacts with those who live around us require a certain way of doing the things we must learn so as not to clash in society. In order to remain socially acceptable and proficient in communicating, having the ability to communicate accordingly in social relationship groups will help ensure success in the business world. So here we have a little display of different qualities of interpersonal relationships. This is for social and personal relationships, different qualities. And we will go on to our closing.
We can improve our relationships with others by leaps and bounds if we become encouragers instead of critics. Now that the differences between social and personal relationships have been explained, it is important that everyone is involved in some type of relationship, whether it's personal or social. Like I mentioned before, mental health is a bigger issue than ever before, and having some type of interaction with another person and having a clear line of communication with a significant other, whether personal or socially, is important. I want to leave everyone with this last quote by Brandon Jenner. "We can bring positive energy into our daily lives by smiling more, talking to strangers in line, replacing handshakes with hugs, and calling our friends just to tell them we love them." I want to go ahead and thank everybody for the time. I want to go ahead and thank Jordan, Michaela, Madeline for being diligent and for their hard work. Thank you all for your attention. Have a great evening.